These are my note cards. We have them on every street corner, constantly trying to compete with each other. Pharmacies have become a huge part of our everyday lives. A doctor may write you a prescription, but it is the job of the pharmacy and the technicians to make sure that the drug is dispensed both accurately and in a timely manner. As a registered pharmacy technician, the field of pharmacy and all that it entails is extremely interesting to me. Pharmacies and the task that the pharmacists and technicians do each and every day is crucial to the safety and reliability of the drugs that our doctors prescribe to us. To see the impact that the pharmaceutical industry has on Americans, we will first start by defining what pharmaceuticals is, the importance of it in our everyday lives, and the change that the industry has undergone. Let's first start by looking at the definition of pharmaceuticals. From the ancient times up to recent years, pharmaceuticals has thrived. In fact, the term pharmacy was first coined by the Greeks, coming from the root word pharmakon, which means drugs. When you think of the industry, one of the main things that pops into your head is your everyday on-the-corner drugstore. But pharmaceuticals is so much more than that. As defined by Ms. Russell in the book, The Pharmaceutical Industry, clinical trials are research studies that test how well new medical approaches work on our bodies. By conducting clinical trials, researchers are able to better understand how different medications and practices work in our bodies. Whether this research is on drugs that we currently have, or if this is the creation of a new drug, the research that is taken will help the FDA approve a drug for different uses. One clinical trial that is currently underway is to help find a cure for cancer. Once a medication is approved by the Food and Drug Administration, or FDA for short, the medicine is released to be stocked on shelves or given to a pharmacy to be dispensed, depending on its classification. As stated by FDA officials, the agency's long-standing mission is to ensure that medications are safe and effective, of good quality, properly labeled, and promoted responsibly and accurately. This is where the role of the pharmacist comes into play. Why is the pharmacy really that important, you might ask? Without the pharmacy, pharmacists, and technicians, it would be much harder to regulate drug use and to make sure it is dispensed both accurately and in a timely manner. It is the job of the pharmacist to make sure that a patient is not bringing in a fraudulent prescription and that drugs are being used for its intended purpose. Drug abuse is a huge problem in today's society, and both the pharmacists and the FDA work hand in hand to make sure that drugs are being used for their intended purpose. Working in the pharmacy, filling prescriptions quickly and accurately is a must. When we receive a prescription in the pharmacy, it is our job to make sure that the correct drug, dosage, and quantity is dispensed. If technicians and pharmacists were unavailable, the prescriptions that you have been given by your doctor would be completely pointless because no one would be there to fill them. For example, mixing a compound is kind of hard, and if a prescriber simply gave you the recipe to come up with a compound for, let's say, magic mouthwash, there would be no way to regulate if that prescription was composed correctly. Finally, we'll look at how the industry has changed throughout its entirety. Dating back to ancient times, people have strived to find different remedies for their ailments. Whether it was a certain type of root or herb, apothecaries, folk healers, and witch doctors, such as the ones shown in these pictures, were among some of the few who looked for cures for these ailments. Pharmacopoeias, defined by Dobson as an authoritative list of drugs, their components, and preparations, were being written dating back as far as we can tell. In fact, ancient pharmacopoeias were found in Egypt, written on papyrus. One of the most famous pharmacopoeias was written in just the 1st century by Pedanius Dioscorides. However, these books did not become official until the first publication in 1498. By the 19th century, pharmacies as we know them today began thriving. Rather than coming up with their own concoctions, certain drug recipes had been patented, and these had been used more as regular medicines. People began pushing the sales of these medications and drugs, and their use had began rising. Drugstores began flourishing. As hopefully you can now see, pharmaceuticals and all that it entails is extremely crucial to our everyday lives. Pharmaceuticals is a continuously growing industry, and now you can better understand what pharmaceuticals is, the importance that it has on our everyday lives, and how it has developed. The next time you take your daily allergy pill, you'll now be able to know the extent of research and the work from clinical trials that was put to make sure that it was safe. P.G. Wodehouse once stated the following: "There is only one cure for gray hair. It was invented by a Frenchman. It is called the guillotine. Maybe, through the help of research and clinical trials, this industry will help change that."